So welcome everyone to the Cancer New Moon preview. I started calling it a preview because I was getting emails that new moon's not till, and I was like, I know. So new moon's on the 14th. We are here on the 12th. And I'm very, very happy all of you are here with me. There is a lot, but I bet you can feel that in your bodies right now. So we're going to help ourselves out and ground and call in sacred space. Let's take a big deep breath in. And as we exhale, we're dropping our grounding cords down, sending our roots down, down, down into the earth. And just breathe with that a little bit. Really let those roots drop in to the core, wrap around her a little bit. Feel that flow go down through your feet. Then inhale. And as you inhale, draw that earth energy up through your body. Barefoot is better. Sending it up and out through the top of the head, connecting with the heart of the divine above us. And then inhaling, drawing that cosmic energy back down through your body, sending it all the way down into the earth, activating the as above, so below flow. Then connecting with that flow. Breathing in, breathing out, activate the as within, so without, as the universe, so the soul. Moving to the north, we welcome Mother Earth. We give such great thanks to be here in physical bodies doing this sacred work right now on the planet. Moving to the south, we welcome water. We welcome clear, clean, current emotions. We welcome love, joy, flow, abundance into our circle. Moving to the west, we welcome air and mind, focus and clarity, all of our guides, angels, allies, and helpers in the invisible realm. And moving to the east, we welcome fire, movement, action, divine right action into our circles today. Moving to the center, we welcome in our divine feminine and our divine masculine in sacred right relationship. We call that beautiful energy down through our bodies. We call up Mama Gaia to pull and magnetize that energy through us. And we welcome our own sweet, extraordinary souls into the circle. We ask that all these energies be with us, pray with us, dance with us for our mutual benefit. All right, everyone, we're going to get up and move and activate all those good things we called in. Here we go. Oh, yum. I feel like we could be done now, but I bet you don't yet. All right, everyone, just close your eyes for just a moment. Oops, Cass forgot to turn the music off. Story of my life. Don't get up. We'll dance to that at the end. Now, close your eyes and settle. Take a breath. We've moved all that energy. We've got it all stirred up in there. And so now we're going to settle into our bodies. And maybe before the dance, hopefully not after, but just remember how you felt when you woke up this morning. And think about how things have been showing up for you in the past, I don't know, 12 days since the beginning of July. And just breathe. And today we're going to understand a little bit more about why. You can come back and I'm going to explain to you what's been going on. I've changed it up just a little bit. I'm going to give you more journal time today so you can really work on things because we're only 2 days out. And I didn't pull cards because there's so much information I have to share. The buildup is as important as it's like you want to consider this new moon a launching pad, but the prep has been happening since July 1 and really like right in that window. There's tons of seers. Lee Harris, I mean, a lot of folks have been saying that July is the demarcation point. And the first half of the year was prep for the rest of the year. So you want to anchor in what all of what I'm sharing with you, not in your head, like listen with your heart, because that's what this moon is about. Cancer, you know, the Cancer is the sign that promotes emotional safety, emotional stability. So we want to, this is where we're going. And it's going to be the foundation of what is coming. And we have to, what we're going to learn today is we have to anchor here first. I've been screaming this at people for 1.5 years now. But now those of you that are doing that are ready. So all this began in Mercury retro for a reason. It slows us down. You know, right now our minds can be chattering like crazy, and Mercury retro makes us backpedal and be still and integrate the past 3 months, which have been kind of a whirlwind for folks. So this is the big news. And I'm going to teach most of this, but July 1st, yes, in the heart. Absolutely, Carolyn. July 1st, Jupiter squared Chiron. Now, what that, you know, squares are usually kind of scratchy, but Jupiter is making everything bigger. And it is an indicator of what is happening on the planet right now, mass awakening. So I know myself and lots of other people I talk to have been having, you know, strange body sensations, waking up with anxiety that doesn't feel like your own, maybe feeling agitated. Other people have been blissing right through this. But you're going to notice it in the heart area. You're going to notice it in your feelings, because this awakening that has been for most of us up here on the spiritual, out here on the spiritual level, it's going to start to get real on the physical level. And the indicator right now for us I mean, we can see it around us. You know, there's wildfires everywhere. There's lots of her skin is readjusting and trying to balance, you know, in my opinion, trying to balance what humanity has been doing to her, but trying to balance all the different energies and frequencies on her back. Yes, there's nothing, and I'm so glad you said that. It says openings, openings. I don't know who that is, but she said she went to the doctor and did the full testing and nothing was medically wrong. So this is why, and this is my soapbox, so I'll speak into this and then I'll get back. It's like there's so much here. If you are having those experiences, there's some really cheap and easy things you can do for yourself. Get a blankie or a yoga mat and get yourself outside, flat on the ground. I mean, I understand if you don't want the bugs or chiggers or whatnot, but get preferably the bottom of your bare feet on the ground and just lay there. That will balance your whole nervous system pretty quickly. It's my fastest fix. There's tons of tinctures, herbal teas, lavender essential oil, chamomile tea, anything that's calming to the nervous system is what you want to be doing for yourself right now. And understanding that we're going to go over what these things can be. The other thing, I'm trying to think where to put this. I'll send it out in the email. Now, I know people write me and say, did you send, you know, blah, blah, blah. I always send a rerun, a recording in an email. In the email, I'm also going to give you, because this is free to everybody, Made for Miracles, which is a protocol that you can take yourself through, and it's a, you know, it's a 6-module class if you really want to understand what you're doing. But there's a little protocol in there. There's a book in there you can read about it if you want to do it quickly. And so you can clear this stuff, because this is emotional caca trying to come up for you. That's what the anxiety is. And it may not even be yours. So that will help. I will put a link for that in there. Help me remember. So here's why this is all happening and what it's happening for. And this is the last chat I'm looking at. So what it means is that we are supposed to expand beyond the wounds that have limited us. So this is significant. This is where we're going. It's like all of us are against the things that we've been saying, oh, I need to fix that. Oh, I need to fix that. Oh, I need to fix that. And we haven't. And so all of these configurations are designed to get us to go inside and fix it in there first. It says, because what we're doing, it says both planets are at the beginning of new signs. This square carries exceptional power. Rather than simply activating an old story, which is what we do when we cycle, it introduces an entirely new developmental lesson that will continue unfolding over the coming years. So you want to look at things differently. In the protocol, Made for Miracles protocol, there's a prayer that says, help me see differently. You should be saying that 24/7 right now. At the highest expression, Jupiter wants you to grow, and it's in Leo. So it's going to encourage confidence, creativity, authentic. It's like, this is going to be when you go, I'm doing this. I can't not do it. It also supports generosity, wholehearted living. So, nourished living, the willingness to stop playing small. Jupiter invites you to let your unique gifts shine. Chiron, so the planet of lessons, is now in Taurus, so it's getting physical. And that creates a counterbalance with Jupiter. So Taurus is self-worth, embodiment, security, getting things right in the physical realm. It rules resources, values, your relationship with the physical world. Finances is also a big player in all those things. Chiron is going to reveal where those kinds of foundational things still need healing. So stuff's going to come up. Stuff is coming up everywhere in the physical. People are having illnesses in their body that they weren't expecting because they weren't looking, they weren't listening. And they're just tiny little wake up calls to go, yo, this is what needs fixed so you can get there. Together, there's going to feel like tension, but it's good tension because there's parts of you that want to step into your bigger self, greater visibility. There's other parts that are still afraid. And so you're going to have those old things like, who am I to be doing this? I'm not worthy. All of those little are going to sift to the surface. So if it feels uncomfortable, it doesn't mean anything's wrong. It means it's time to grow. It's like this is the seeds pushing the shell off so they can pop their heads out. And that's going to be growth beyond limitations that have kept you in your comfort zone for years. So this is where you're going to have to stop those behaviors. You're going to have to sneak up on them. You're going to have to be creative and find creative move arounds for those. And I can't move without opening this. Okay, here we go. So here's the first one. There's several of these that led up. So that was July the 1st, that square. Now, fast forward to the 4th of July, 4th and 5th. Mars was right on top of Uranus. So look down here. There they are in Gemini, both of them hanging out together. And then it was also sextile Neptune right here and trine with Pluto. So those are the gods of change right there. And they're all hanging out with the god of war. Woohoo! Party! Luckily, he's in Gemini, so he's a little bit more playful. So here's how we're going to look at this. Mars is simultaneously receiving 3 different kinds of support. Uranus is going to awaken and liberate action. So places where you felt stuck are going to begin to move, maybe whether you want them to move or not. That's what it's going to, it's like you aren't going to have a choice. Neptune is going to catch you before the cuss words come out of your mouth and go, this is an inspired moment. What am I supposed to be learning? I'm going to take inspired action and not just do the same old thing. And then Pluto is going to help you transform those old behaviors, those old knee-jerk reactions that led to the cycling into something different. So it is a rare opportunity to break free from the past, align with a higher vision, pursue it with extraordinary determination and effectiveness. So if Mars, which it does, directs how you use your life force, then it's going to upgrade the way you use it. Okay? It asks you not to simply work harder, but to act from a completely new level of consciousness. Remember, stalking. What is another workaround? What is the real reason under the reason that you're not moving forward? And it could be as simple as cutting cords with people that, under your awareness, I did this morning, under your awareness, are influencing you because they have very strong opinions about your choices. And if you have like and strong opinions that were trained into you in childhood, then you're going to have set intentions every new moon, but you won't move much, or you'll go like this. And what we want is this. So this is going to help you do that. But you're going to have to do the work to get to those pieces. That's what Made for Miracles will help you do. Core theme, inspired breakthrough. So you're going to be asking yourself, what would you do if you suddenly realized you were far less limited than you thought? You know, that all of these fears weren't real and that you really could do the hard thing. And it wasn't as hard as you thought it was going to be. So it can feel like, though, and these are where some of those symptoms come from, a surge of electricity. You know, this says flowing through your will. And yes, and I've had those moments where it's just like, ordinarily, I'd be putting this off. I'm just going to get up and do this. Notice those because they're going to come. Also, it may literally feel like surges of electricity through your body, or hands, fingers going to sleep at random weird moments. Tingles on the head, your head itches a lot. It's just weird symptomology. That is part of this push forward. And it's happening, like we said, in the physical now. So it's also going to encourage decisive movement. Courageous, I'm just going to try this. Courageous experimentation and a willingness to leave behind stagnant patterns that have quietly outlived their usefulness. So, unlike Mars and Uranus combinations, however, this one doesn't operate alone because you got Neptune and Pluto. They're just going to deepen all of that clearing. And instead of creating disruption, it's going to support purposeful evolution. So, like I said, getting underneath the thing of the thing of the thing, and then tiny little shifts, tiny little choices. Right here, this came through this morning when I was driving. Let me get you guys off of it. Hang on. My goals, intentions, and desire for the future dictate my thoughts, choices, actions, and behaviors now. Not my ego, not the old me that was constantly circling, but the future me, the me I want to be, has to begin to govern the choices I make now. So then we have all these other little fun things around this conjunction. Mars conjunct Uranus, liberation through action. So those of you that are in Priestess, when we're in the fire door, we talk about Lisa and how she used to tell us all of her priestesses. She used to get frustrated with people that said, I just don't feel it yet. She would be just like, do it. Just do the thing.
because action begets action. You'll get the energy to do the thing when you do the thing. Mars governs initiative, courage, drive, desire, sexuality, conflict, and physical energy. And Uranus represents awakening, innovation, freedom, originality. These two could really partner well together. Higher consciousness and unexpected change. So notice that sometimes unexpected change and conflict can kind of partner up with each other. So this is what you want to be careful of in this energy, because the result can be explosive. And yet there's so much positive stuff here that it doesn't have to be a bad thing. For those of you that are like me, I have my Venus is in Taurus. She likes things to stay the same, and needs warning before something changes. There's pretty much been no warning for the past 2 weeks. And there's been a lot of change. So you just want to learn to kind of ride with that and stay grounded, stay clear of all the people that are also experiencing this wave of energy that aren't aware and haven't done the work you've done. It's like, this is where we, keep both hands in the boat and we just ride. So this is a classic signature 4. So just think about this when you're making your intentions: breaking old habits, escaping stagnation, inventing something new, rapid innovation, bold experimentation, unexpected opportunities, sudden courage, acting independently, taking action on your own initiative, intuitive hits. You got to take a drink. So many, it would help if what I had in my water bottle was water. Many people experience Mars and Uranus as the feeling that they simply cannot continue. Just like I said earlier, you just can't do this anymore. It's like something's got to give, something's got to move. So old routines can suddenly become unbearable. It's like, I can't do this. Restrictions feel intolerable. Freedom becomes non-negotiable. And instead of asking, what should I do? This is going to ask, what is finally possible? I'm finally going to do this. I'm finally going to make this change. So that was the 4th and 5th. So this is the boat we've been riding in. The 7th, it was like we were in a speedboat and then somebody cut the engine and we're out floating in the middle of the ocean because Neptune stationed retrograde on July 7th. And it just began its new cycle in Aries not very long ago, when you consider that Neptune's transit takes 169 years. So nobody on the planet has ever felt this before. A retrograde like this, nobody has had this experience in their physical body this go round. So it can feel a little weird. It's gonna in general, Neptune is about spiritualization of everything. The will, courage, identity, physical body, all of it, all your choices, actions. It wants you to have a spiritual perspective. So, because it's retro now, suddenly, integrate, go in. So here at this emotional stability new moon, Cancer new moon, suddenly the biggest, and that's little water, the biggest ruler of water in our atmosphere, Neptune, says float, says go in, do the inner work first. What does inspired action really look like for me individually? What are those choices that I have been avoiding making that would fix all the things that I haven't fixed, that I want to fix or change or up-level or upgrade? What is my true calling? And where am I confusing guidance with impulse, fantasy, or ego? And, you know, this little phrase right here, confusing guidance with impulse, fantasy, or ego, is what some people call spiritual bypass, where I can't do that because of this. And it makes you feel wholly, it gives you a big justification for why you can't do the hard thing. So when Neptune turns retrograde, anything out here foggy that doesn't feel clear, it's like somebody flips a mirror and it's like, okay, where are you foggy on the inside? At its highest expression, it heightens your intuition. You'll get tons of downloads during this time. Your sensitivity, your mystical perception, and your idealism. It will also deepen your longing for a life that feels spiritually authentic. And that has been any place where there's a scratch, where there's a false belief, and these will be tricky to find, some of them, where there's a false belief in any area of your life, and your physical expression, your money, your home, your all the practical things, your work, what you're here to do on the planet, all of that. You are going to long to be true. And anywhere there's a scratch, it's a place not where you're not being true, but where you have a false belief system around it. And that's what you need to go get. Now, what also happens, and it happened for me, it happened for a lot of my clients. Elaborate on which part, Carolyn?
Gosh, I can't even remember, but it was so good, Kath, what you said. Something about blah, blah, blah. I don't want a spiritual bypass, but it's okay. I can also re-listen and try and perceive whatever I can. Okay. Thank you so much.
Okay. So, that's what's slowing you down. That's what you need to go after, are those places where you don't feel authentic. Now, what also happened when I felt it, especially on the 7th, but a lot of people, and it was not just in your physicality, there were also other things, emotional. I mean, my daughter has a birthday on July the 7th, and total emotional meltdown that day, and literal change, a change that she's needed to make for years. But her new theme song is, she's all out of, there's a cuss word in there, to give. She just doesn't give, we'll say damn, anymore about certain things. But because of that, she can make choices she needs to make for herself that she's needed to make for years. This is where everyone is. But in your physicality, it can show up like, it says in its lower expression, fatigue, confusion, escapism, diving into old bad habits to numb out, uncertainty about your direction. And it's humanity's first deep review of a new 14-year spiritual atmosphere. So this first two sets of 7-year space that we're going to be in as we begin this next transition into, we all said this is what we wanted to be here for, the transition to the new earth. So we'd have a say so in how it was going to be. Well, here's your moment. Isn't this fun? Anyhow, what Neptune and Pisces did, because he just moved out of there, was dissolve boundaries through compassion, mysticism, and spiritual yearning. That was us wanting the new age to come. And that expressed and is still expressing through grief, media saturation, widespread, all of the crazy that's out there. In Aries, it's a different lesson. Instead of dissolving, it says, and this is important, write this down, can your individual self, your physicality, this is what we teach in Priestess, can it become a clear instrument of spirit? Period. I mean, every teacher on the planet spoke into this, some of them more than others, some more recently than others. And, when we say go to your soul, that's what we're speaking to. At its highest expression, Neptune support in Aries supports spiritual courage, because it's going to take courage to make those different choices. Visionary leadership, we're going to have to look at far sight. Sacred activism, artistic boldness, direct mystical experience. This is when you hear it and you go, whoever said that, you're crazy. I can't do that. Not me. Let them go. Let them say it out loud. I don't want to be that person. But you're going to hear it and you won't be able to not hear it. And you're going to have to do it. That is the warrior mystic. Someone who acts from divine attunement rather than ego aggression. Okay, there's more. That was July 7th. Yeah, let me finish. This is Neptune. So this is going to be here for a while. Because Neptune is big and it moves slow. So as we get used to it, though, as our bodies begin to stabilize, you're going to experience a stronger pull toward meditation, dreams, music. Listen to that. Those are somatic practices wanting to happen. That's your physical body talking to you. Greater interest in prayer, ritual, ceremony, healing, or just plain quiet. Solitude, being in your own bubble. Probably it's going to take you a little bit longer to get to clarity around practical decisions, and that's okay. Take your time. This isn't go time by any means. It's wise action. With a need to withdraw from the noise, the urgency, the conflict, the overstimulation, days without your phone, set a tent up in your backyard, sleep outside, let your body reattune to the planet. A feeling that an old identity is quietly dissolving. And a persistent inner question. What am I really being called to do? In its highest expression, it's divinely guided courage. Not just giving in, not just passive surrender, and not reckless action. We don't get a free pass anymore. Once we know, all the free passes, they're running out, because once we know what our own personal divine right action looks like, and we don't do it, it's not going to bode well for us. That's all I can say. It's like the choices that we make going forward, we won't be able in good consciousness to keep making some of them. I can remember, and this will happen in increments. It's not like, please don't try to overhaul your life all at once. You won't need to try. This will happen naturally. It will be one of those things where it might be a really pain in your backside to do some of these things, but you won't be able to not do them. I remember when, and this has been, good Lord, it's going to date me, at least 25 years ago, maybe 24. I started doing campouts outside in my own personal medicine wheel, out in the woods in the middle of Kansas, and spending a ton of time on the ground in circle with women. And suddenly, there was no way I could throw away any kind of plastic in a plastic bag to sit and rot inside her body. I couldn't make myself do it. I recycle like a fiend now, not because I'm good or godly. And there's many times where, my physical self is like, do I really have to drive 2 hours to the nearest recycle center in the middle of Podunk, Missouri to recycle all this stuff? Yes. That's what I mean. It will just be those moments where suddenly I have to live in alignment with this part of myself. I can't not do it anymore. I don't care if it's not convenient. I don't care if I don't like the way that tastes. I'll acquire the taste if it helps my physicality. Those kinds of choices are going to be very loud right now. And those are the kind that will take courage, greater clarity, integrity, all of that. But that is going to develop your power. That is going to turn you into a spiritual lightning rod. When you get together in these ceremonies and we call in sacred space and you build that field around you, we're not just playing. It's not just the opening prayer. That's real. That's shamanic action. So you start doing this inner work and you become the change agent for the whole planet. And that's all you have to do. It's like, you don't have to go out there and, you can, if that's what you're called to do, if that's what you're here to do. But you just show up and be you and make authentic choices for yourself. Okay, I'll get off of that soapbox because there's more. July 13th, today. Woo! Is that today? Tomorrow. tomorrow. There is something really special happening today. We're going to get there. So Venus squares Uranus and quincunxes Neptune and Pluto. And I'll show you here. You can see it. Here she is. You know, it's making this little basket that we're going to talk about soon. So here she is, and she's quincunxing Neptune and Pluto. So here's Neptune way out there on the edge and Pluto. And then she's, hang on, y'all. Y'all are driving me nuts with these. She's squaring Uranus. So a square is always agitated energy. So tomorrow, she's going to dance with all three gods of change on the same day. And this one works on your thoughts, your psyche. But what it's going to do now, and you want to understand, you know, we have this happening in our physicality. It's going to happen on the globe. It's going to happen everywhere. And some of those events could trigger more inside our bodies. So, I mean, they already are. The fires are all over the planet right now. And they're triggering fear. You know, there's just a lot. That is happening because of these configurations that have been pushing us forward. Those planets are big. They peak on the day that we talk about, but this has been building. So it's like this is going to mark a major adjustment point in how you love, how you relate, how you value yourself. Remember the story about my daughter? Suddenly, it's not as important to take care of everyone else as it is important to take care of herself. You're going to see a lot of events. Maybe you already have happened in your life and the lives of your friends around that issue, because women have not done this yet. And some men have not done this yet. How you manage your resources, that's going to be another loud one. And how you pursue fulfillment. You know, do you mindlessly scroll, or do you consciously choose what you're going to feed your brain? Those kinds of things are going to are up. And here's what's really happening. Venus is squaring Uranus and causing the destabilization of existing patterns. Suddenly, that junk food of choice is just going to feel like in your body. You're going to crave something with life force in it. Venus quincunx Neptune is going to make you spiritually and emotionally recalibrate, which means you're going to want to get right inside. And all of this talk about going to your heart first instead of your head is going to begin to make sense. And if it doesn't feel right to you, it's not right. And then she's going to quincunx Pluto, and that's going to make you sit down and do something, a protocol, something to untangle those inappropriate thoughts that keep you spiraling. So what's really happening is a process in which familiar ways of seeing and seeking love, harmony, beauty, money, security don't fit who you're becoming. The old equilibrium is becoming unstable. And the new one isn't quite formed, but it's emerging. So it's not like a crisis. It's like if you can stay grounded and breathe, it may look like one initially, but then you just go, wait a minute. This is an evolutionary adjustment. This is requiring change, fundamental change. So remember, Venus is all of, she loves beauty. She loves the beauty of this planet. She loves all the good things this planet. She rules Taurus. She rules this planet. When they talk about the sacred vault, it's the moon, the sun, and Venus, the three major players of this planet. So she is rewiring herself. And what you see around you, even though it may look scary, is an adjustment. So what you need to be asking, what must change in your relationship and value system so they better reflect who you're becoming, your future self? So things are getting real. I mean, 3D real down here. So there's more. That leads to the launch pad on the Tuesday. And it's going to happen at 4:43 p.m. Central Time on Tuesday the 14th. And that's a.m., not p.m., sorry. So every moon is always the beginning of a fresh lunar cycle. So all of this has been in preparation for this moment. And this is when the moon and the sun are together on the chart. Look over here. Here they are at 21 degrees, 58 and 59 seconds, Cancer. So that's a little over halfway in. That's a pretty hefty Cancer new moon. This is about planting energetic seeds for the next 4 weeks. But this one is going to be one of the most, remember what I said, July was the dividing line. So this is when we're beginning to listen to some, go back over the last 6 months and go, what changes have I made so far? I need to stabilize myself in those changes, and what's still left. Cancer is the zodiac's great cultivator of inner life. It governs emotional security, family, home, belonging, memory, intuition, nurturing, protection, ancestry, and the invisible foundation upon which all the rest of your life is built. So that's what we're looking at. And this one in particular, remember that little cradle we saw? For the first time in decades, the gods of change, accompanied by Jupiter, are forming an incredibly rare alignment known as Barbalk's basket, a configuration linked to major turning points in human history. He was a French astrologer, and he believed that this alignment could mark the beginning of a profound shift in civilization from crisis to reconstruction. So in all the places where crisis is already happening, this is calling us to go inside and clear what we need to clear so that we can make appropriate steps forward this time. This is calling for new divine right action. Pluto's in Aquarius, and it's like full of ideas, already transforming structures, hand over fist. We can't even it makes your head spin, literally. Uranus and Gemini, same thing. Communication, technology, revolution. Neptune and Aries, new ideologies and collective visions. So we're not going to get to do this from our heads anymore. Neptune is saying, whoa, back up, pull in the reins. You all have to use your own holy wisdom now, period. If you don't, we're just sitting here. We're not moving forward until you stay in your heart to make these decisions. Internal revolution. Somebody was talking about revolution. Make that revolution happen inside of you so that it doesn't have to happen outside of you. If it happens on the inside, it doesn't have to get to the physical. We just got to get it. And Jupiter is going to amplify all of this. The world is changing and the old world is evolving and a new chapter is beginning. And y'all, we asked for them. We got front row seats. We are here. We get to do it. It's like we enlisted. We signed up. We get to choose the future we want to begin to build. We truly do. So there's a couple other players I want to mention. Mercury, he gives, he's still in retrograde, but he's the one that gives language to the heart. And the moon is conjunct Mercury on Tuesday. So they're hanging out together. It fundamentally changes how Cancer expresses itself in this moon. Normally, Cancer experiences things. She's a real feeler, and she explains things later. Mercury is encouraging us to, why don't you just pay attention to what's happening? Bring conscious awareness into your emotional experience. This is, and I see this so much in I have 2 Cancer daughters. This is, rather than letting your emotions drive the car and dictate your actions, just let yourself experience your feelings so you can begin to understand them, communicate them, and intentionally work with them rather than simply acting from them. This is the new challenge. It's the greatest gift of this new moon. Instead of allowing old emotions, this is to keep you from cycling. Instead of allowing old emotional habits to consciously direct your decisions, you have an opportunity to observe those habits with clarity. And understanding becomes the doorway to emotional freedom. So the other cool thing, and this was the exciting thing I was going to share, Mercury reaches its midpoint today. It's the midpoint of the retrograde cycle, and it's in a sun. It joins the sun in a cazimi, so it's right in the center of the sun. So what this means is it's big clarity, big illumination. Spend time from today until Tuesday, any moment you can, in altar time, meditation, ceremony, pulling cards, getting downloads. This, especially today, is a rare moment right on the launch pad of this new moon. Venus is going to carry, it's like we're going to get the clarity, and then Venus is going to give us that fresh insight because it's squaring Uranus. So first comes understanding, then comes the invitation to live differently because of what we've seen. This is how we make it work. Okay? And then Pallas Athena, and I love this title here, and I want to get it. All right. When emotional wisdom meets strategic intelligence. Pallas Athena squares this new moon, creating one of the most intellectually fascinating dynamics of the entire new lunation. Pallas Athena represents strategic intelligence. She sees the patterns, she sees the systems, she understands timing. She solves problems by stepping back far enough to perceive the greater design. Cancer experiences life from the inside out. She has a feeling and she thinks that's the truth, usually. Cancer values emotional immediacy, personal experience, instinct, and of course, they're very protective. So the square isn't asking you to choose one or over the other. It's asking you to integrate them, which Mercury in retrograde is going to help you do that. Cancer says what feels right. And Pallas Athena says what actually works. And you're going to have to come to a balance between those two sometimes. Cancer says what protects the people I love. And Pallas Athena says what creates the best long-term outcome. Come to a balance. So when you answer all of them together, journal with those questions around anything that's coming up for you. It's like there can be emotional tension and emotional reactions when some of these things really just require strategic wisdom. And, you know, if there are other people involved, that's where it can get a little dicey. They may not, you know, because here you are trying to make your divine right choices. Other people may not be where you are wanting to make those same choices. And if they're part of your living structure, it can get a little dicey. But it's going to expose situations where a perfectly logical strategy has overlooked genuine human needs. So you want to be looking for those. You want to be on the lookout and keep those in balance. Balance is the watchword right now. So the highest expression of this aspect isn't emotional impulsiveness or cold calculation. It's compassionate strategy, wisdom guided by the heart, intelligence placed in the service of genuine care. So this is where you have your head and heart have to work together. So here's the core themes, and then I'm going to give you, I know we're over time. This is what I told you. This is why we're not doing a card pull. I'm going to give you the thought questions, give you a little time to journal, but time to write them down, and we'll dance. Cancer asks the deep question. You may want to write these down, and there's only one or two here. What emotional foundation must be strengthened before this new cycle can truly flourish? So when you set intentions, you want to word them in such a way, strengthen the emotional supports for whatever divine right outcomes that you had in mind. Show me what emotional supports need to be strengthened so that the outcomes that we want to see on this planet can flourish. It's not about accomplishments. It's not about what's going on the outside. It's going to be the internal changes that happen for you. Cancer reminds us that every external achievement ultimately rests on invisible emotional structures, courage, the ability to make choices even when your ego doesn't want to. If those structures are unstable, success feels hollow. If they're healthy, even life's inevitable challenges become far easier to navigate. This moon encourages you to invest first in your inner world. Plant seeds in your own inner seed bed first. And that's this inner work that we're being called to. It may mean creating a more peaceful home environment, healthier emotional boundaries, healing childhood wounds that keep influencing present day decisions, recognizing that genuine self-care isn't selfish. I'm going to say that one again. Self-care, good self-care, which is this kind of work, isn't selfish. Making the time to do this kind of work isn't selfish. It's the fertile soil from which your greatest contributions naturally grow. Cancer understands something that modern society forgets. You can't sustainably give away what you haven't first cultivated in yourself. So here's some thought questions. Who am I already becoming? What wants to be birthed through me now? You know, these are just basic. What's the bigger, more expanded me? The new sense of self that for many of you is already emerging. What am I stepping into? What is my expanded sense of identity and consciousness? What new episode wants to be birthed? What is in my way that I still keep circling through? That's the big one right there. And how do I make changes with more integrity? And these are the watchwords for this whole moon. Integrity, authenticity, honesty, and responsible right action. I'll give you a few moments to at least get those down. My intention was not to jabber this long, but there's a lot. And I will put I'll send this out via email, and I'll also put it on Jotform, or not Jotform, YouTube. And then here's some more. This is a beginning of a new era with Pluto now fully in Aquarius. Revolution and rebirth afoot. No more hiding. Time to be who you really are. So, are there other people, and this is important, other people or influences in my life that I need to clean up? And this is on all the realms. What timelines need shifting? And you'll notice timeline shifts, just total shifts in your choices and your behaviors. What choices need upgrading to do that? Do I have things internally that I need to clear? Where can I be more creative? If I'm feeling emotional, how can I self-soothe so that I can think clearly and make good decisions for myself? What is all this turmoil trying to teach me? And how can I stay connected to my soul? All right. If you need a tool to help you with all of those things, that is what this is. Hopefully you've been on the page and you've seen, but basically what we're going to do is go through the Magdalene Rose and her steps that she taught in the center of the labyrinth seen through the lens of the Aramaic language, the language she spoke, planted in the medicine wheel. And we're going to integrate all of those in bi-weekly classes. It is a system, a 7-step system to clear in. If you're having issues with the cycling, all of that, this will walk you through it. This is what I meant when I said all the teachers have talked about this. It's in there. If you want to join that journey, this is an option. We'll talk more about it in the Magdalene's Feast Day celebration on the 22nd. But this is open for everyone, not just priestesses. All right, loves. I am going to get the music going and let people dance because I don't want to lose people. I know people are over time. You have everything you need to set your intentions for this Cancer new moon. You can hold those intentions in your heart while we dance. Oops. Here we go. All right, everyone. You all are definitely welcome. Let's see here. What am I doing? And I'm going to stop the share. I give such great thanks to the elemental forces for holding space for us today. I give thanks for these beautiful souls that are doing their sacred work on the planet just by showing up. And I close this circle in the light. All right, lovelies. Have a good weekend and be safe out there.